Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Cushion Tech here, and today I'm gonna be talking to you guys about who should encode in computer science. Since we live in a digital era, everyone thinks, oh, we have to code because like AI is gonna replace us. That is not the case, and that is not true, though. That is not the case, and that is not true, because like some majors use zero. Either some jobs and majors use zero technology or no technology on. Like for example, if you're working in a non-office job as a if you're working in a non-office job, then if you're working in a non-office job like as a mechanic, you don't need the code and all that. Or if you're a physical fitness trainer and all that, you don't need the code all that. Art majors do not need the code. Art majors do not need the code and all that, because like art majors are mostly like using calculations. They're using like let's see, the pre-built software and all that. That they don't. Their like software is already coded for them, and like they don't need to, and like they just need to, like, let's see, because they just need to learn, like, let's see, they're just either painting, drawing and all that, and they can't just have a robot do it and all that, because robots are not effective at drawing and all that, and they have to make sure everything is correct from their point of view and all that. If you're working in law enforcement and all that, like, for let's say, if you have a criminal justice degree, if you're a police officer and all that, like you're like working for a government and you're enforcing the law by discovering, investigating, deterring, and rehabilitating and punishing people who violate those laws. You're just mostly like driving around a car all day, and like you're just mostly trying to arrest criminals all day, and you're mostly trying to prevent crimes and all that. And like AI cannot replace police officers because of that, because like AIs are like, because like police officers have to be like really wary and all that, and they have to be like really quicker and all that. AI can help police officers and all that, but they cannot like do be like more strict and severe and all that. Social science majors do not need to know how to code, because like they're just mostly like doing like history. They don't need the code on all that. Economics majors, they have to code and all that. Sociology majors don't have to code and all that. Psychology, they don't have to code and all that. English majors, they don't have to code and all that. Political science majors, they don't have to code and all that. Mainly because they're using zero math and zero problem solving skills in the workplace, rather than they're just only like evaluating the brain and like our like communication and all that, how we talk and all that. Fitness trainers need to learn how to code and all that, because like because fitness trainers do not need to learn how to code, because fitness trainers are not going to be using computers all day. They're going to be like teaching like people, they're going to be teaching students and people how to like build muscle and all that, and like robots don't have muscle, obviously, so they cannot show it, while with like actual fitness trainers, like they have they and like fit robots cannot properly stretch, and they cannot properly teach proper form and all that, whereas regular, like, let's see, fitness humans, they can stretch properly, they have proper form when performing exercises and all that, and they can teach the trainees how to pro. Fitness trainers are like anything with kinesiology, or fitness trainers, they don't need the code, because coding may not help them at all in the workplace, because like they'll be mostly using technology, where like because coding uses mostly technology, and physical kinesiology and fitness trainers just only uses their own body, nothing else. And robots cannot stretch properly, or they cannot lift things properly, and they don't have proper form, unlike humans. Anyone like who doesn't work in an office, or doesn't have an office job, let's see, doesn't they shouldn't learn how to code and all that, because there's no point of learning how to code, because they're not going to be like in an office. They'll be mostly like doing like physical work. They're not going to be sitting in a desk all day. They're not going to be in a computer all day. They're not going to be using any technologies or all day. They're not going to be like wearing any suits or all day. Like, for example, dental hygienists, dental assistants, physician assistants, and all them, they don't, let's see, like they're like gonna be like, let's see, not they're not gonna be using any technology. They're gonna be, or chefs, let's see, mechanics, flight attendants, nurses, plumbers, lifeguards. They don't need to know how to code and all that, because they or food workers, because they're just mostly going to be like doing like physical work that technology cannot do, and that requires zero technology. Nurses don't know should not learn how to code, and they don't need to learn how to code, because they're not going to be using any technology or computers in the workplace and all that. They're not going to be using any technologies or computers in the workplace. They're just mostly treating patients. They're mostly like, let's see, helping people. They're mostly doing like physical work without any technology and all that. They're just mostly like checking other people's health and all that. They're mostly working with blood and all that, and they're mostly working with like helping people and all that. Welders, let's see, don't should not learn how to code, because they're not going to be using any technology in the workplace and all that. They're just going to be like using like physical tools and all that. They're like to apply heat to metal pieces, and melting them and fusing them to form a permanent bond and all that. Like, they're like, let's see, like doing like some kind of weld. They're doing like they're like, let's see, melting things and all that, and they're like fusing things together with physical things and all that, and it does not require any computers coding and all that, and it does not require any technology in that, and they will use zero technologies, so they shouldn't learn how to code. Let's see, lawyers do not need to learn how to code, because like they'll be most of the time, like, let's see, debating. They're not going to be using technology to help them. Like, they're not going to be using technology to help them and all that. They're just going to be debating, let's see, they're just going to be mostly debating, arguing, and like defending the defendants and all that. Like, they like, let's see, interpret and apply laws, court decisions, and other legal authorities of an increasingly complex nature that is responsible for like any like crime going on. They're like mostly trying to prove like the case, saying like, without any technology. They'll use technology to hear and get the proof and all that, but they won't use the technology to do all the work for them. They have to come it up with their own bias. They cannot just use technology and all that. They have to have their own opinion rather than just chat GPTing it and all that. Drivers do not need to learn how to code, because like they're only going to be driving like people as public transportation and all that. They're good. Like, bus drivers don't need to know how to code, because they cannot use technology for them to learn how to code and all that. They cannot use technology and all that to learn how to code and all that. They cannot learn how to use technology to learn how to code and all that. They have to do like encode every. They have like an AI drive for them, because AI could make mistakes and all that. Rather, they'll just use AI as like an extra warning sign, and like as a tool rather than just thing, because they'll be driving most of the time, and AI is only going to help them, not replace them completely. Pilots should not learn how to code, because they're not going to be using any technology to do all their work for them. They're just going to be driving the plane, and they're going to be piloting the plane, and like sure, they can have AI as their technology to help them, guide them, and assist them with any needs possible and all that. but they need to help that the AI is more of a tool rather than a full-on replacement. Like it helps them though, but it cannot, let's say, replace them permanently, because like AI can tend to make so many mistakes, and there can be so many software let's see, errors, prone to software errors and all that.